Always one of the most exciting teams in the IPL, the Kolkata Knight Riders. This year, new theme, Ami KKR, which actually translates into I am KKR. Venki Mysore, the chief executive, Piyush Chawla, Yusuf Pathan and Colin Munro, several stars of the Kolkata Knight Riders to talk about this season and whether the team is all set. Venki, first to you, all set?
Speaking for ourselves, behind the scenes, we feel like
not behind the scenes. You're now the face of this team.
We're always behind the scenes. These are the stars who need to be in front, and when we see them, it's of great comfort to see how ready they all look. And for us, there'll always be things that we need to work on, but really looking forward to it and very excited.
Colin, coming to you, I'll come to Yusuf and Piyush in a bit. Colin Munro, anyone who's watched the World T20, that first ball against Ravi Ashwin, Nagpur, switch hit, the whole world was like, wow. When it comes off, it looks magical.
Yeah, it's, when it comes off, it's great, but yeah, it doesn't always come off, which is disappointing. So it's about weighing up if it's the right time to play it or not. And on these surfaces, some of them is good and conducive to playing the shot, and then sometimes you've got to rein it back a little bit and just look to rotate the strike.
But is it something that you've practiced quite a bit? Because obviously it takes a lot of skill to be able to do it.
Yeah, I've practiced it a lot. It comes down to, I think, my hockey background as well. So playing hockey growing up, you always low to the ground and sort of sweeping the ball. So that brings on a lot as well.
Piyush, Sunil has been cleared. His action has been cleared. But you always have taken a lot of responsibility for KKR as their premier spinner. How are you approaching this season of the IPL?
Well, obviously as a leg spinner, my job is to pick up wickets, and when I'm bowling in tandem with Sunil, it's always good because he creates that pressure. And generally what happens when he is bowling, people think like, okay, see him off and go after Piyush. So that creates the opportunity for me to pick up wickets.
Yusuf bhai, before I go to Piyush again, last season agar hum log dekhte hain to your partnership with Andre Russell was extraordinary for KKR, and you actually played the second fiddle, which is not something we associate with Yusuf Pathan. I was reading an interview of yours where you said this season we'll perhaps see the old Yusuf Pathan. Will you be more aggressive? What's your आपका पहला thought क्या है going into this season?
नहीं, इंशाल्लाह ज़रूर. इस बार जिस तरह से आपने कहा कि लास्ट ईयर में हम लोगों का जो पार्टनरशिप हुआ एंड्रे रसल का और मेरा, तो हम दोनों यही सोच रहे थे कि एक बैट्समैन जो है अगर वो अच्छा हिट कर रहा है तो उसको दूसरा जो एंड है वो सपोर्ट करेगा ताकि टीम पे प्रेशर ना आए और अपोजिट टीम ज़्यादा प्रेशर में रहे और मैच हम लोग अच्छे से जीत सके. और इस बार अभी देखेंगे किस तरह का सीज़न हम लोग स्टार्ट करेंगे और क्या टीम रोल प्ले करेगा. लेकिन मेरा यही है कि जिस तरह से मैं अग्रेसिव क्रिकेट खेलते आया हूँ उसी तरह खेलने को देखूँगा. लेकिन वो है कि जब टीम को जो नीड होगा, जिस तरह से लास्ट ईयर खेल रहा था, अगर उस तरह से खेलने को आएगा तो उस तरह से भी खेलूँगा और जो मेरा अग्रेसिव क्रिकेट है वो भी साथ साथ में खेलता रहूँगा.
आपको एक और क्वेश्चन करता हूँ बिफोर आई आस्क पीयूष एंड गो टू कॉलिन एंड वेंकी. कोलकाता नाइट राइडर्स easily perhaps is one of the most loved teams. अगर आप ईडन गार्डन्स जाओगे, आपके लिए इस kind of weather, 38 degree 39 degree heat में भी 60-70,000 कोलकाता फैंस, ये आपको कोई ज़्यादा एक sort of इंस्पिरेशन देता है कोलकाता फैंस?
नहीं, ऑब्वियसली बहुत इंस्पायर करते हैं कोलकाता फैंस. हम लोग जब एक मैच खेल रहे थे, जब बारिश हो गया था, एक दो घंटा डिले हुआ था मैच, फिर भी जो फैंस हमारे जो केकेआर को सपोर्ट करते वो लोग ग्राउंड पर ही थे और बारिश में भीगते हुए भी, बहुत तूफान भी आया था, लेकिन उनको ये उम्मीद थी कि मैच स्टार्ट होगा और मैच स्टार्ट भी हुआ था. लेकिन ये सारी चीज़ें देख के बहुत सपोर्ट मिलता है और इंस्पायर होते हैं कि फैंस कितना सपोर्ट करते हैं, कितना प्यार हमें यहाँ पे मिलता है और कितना गेम को वो प्यार करते हैं. तो हमें भी एक खुशी होती है उस चीज़ को देखते हुए.
Colin, when you think of a tournament like the IPL, I mean, and I have spoken to a number of international cricketers who are now playing the competition, one thing that comes across to me from having spoken to all of them is the kind of bond that it has fostered. And even before this show started, I mean, the conversation that you were having with either Yusuf or Piyush or Venki, do you think that is the standout feature of the IPL?
Yeah, I'd say so. And obviously been involved with Mumbai last year for a little while and then coming in to the KKR family now, just the bonds I've made in 2 or 3 days already with some of the players, whether they the local Indian boys or the big stars in terms of the overseas and the big Indian players. And you look at when you're playing for New Zealand as well, and you see the bonds that the people that have played in the RPL for a number of years have created with other team members from other countries, which is something I'm probably looking forward to the most, is trying to make those those bonds and those sort of lifetime friendships. Rather, that'll be my number one, and then obviously winning the championship will be up there as well.
Venki, when you have a team like this, you have stars like these people. You also have youngsters, and there's Jacques, there's Monet, there's superstars in the team. How difficult it is for a youngster who has, for example, been paid a lot of money, and some other international star may not have gotten so much money. Is that a problem for these youngsters coming into the IPL?
See, our experience is, whatever we have seen, I think credit to all the senior players and the stars and players who've been with us. I mean, Yusuf Bhai has been with us since 2011. This is the 6th season for KKR. So is Jacques, so is Gautam. So they've had a way of creating an environment in the team and in the dressing room. And for those of us who are behind the scenes just watching and trying to support everything that happens, I find talking to the youngsters that they instantly feel very comfortable coming in. I don't think money is a factor. Nobody talks money, I mean, that's part and parcel of IPL, and that's great. And it's just the auction dynamics, and so be it. But I think they've all contributed brilliantly to creating an atmosphere which is so comfortable and friendly and yet intense when it needs to be, which is very unique. And there are people who comment about it when they come into our setup. And we have had, for example, I was having a chat with Jaydev Unadkat. Jaydev was part of KKR as a real youngster, and he's gone out, he's come back, and he's saying, I'm glad to be back home. Wow. So that meant a lot for me, for him to say something like that. And and there are players who have been, I mean, Yusuf Bhai he's got 3 championships under his belt. So with Rajasthan Royals and with the KKR. So people who have seen other setups as well, and I'm sure they all have their own philosophies, and all the franchises are great in that sense. But we try to do it KKR way, and it seems to be working. So I think all the boys very quickly and very become very comfortable with the setup, which is a testimonial to what the rest of them are doing for it.
Before I ask you about Shahrukh, Yusuf Bhai, मैं गौतम से बात कर रहा था, and एक चीज़ वो बार-बार मुझे बोलता है, that I actually kept pushing, that's my job as a journalist. मैं उसको बार-बार पूछ रहा था, ये शाहरुख खान का टीम है कि गौतम गंभीर का टीम है, कितना इंटरफेयर करता है बताओ. And he kept saying ये गौतम गंभीर का टीम है, मैं गारंटी कर सकता हूँ. मैनेजमेंट से कोई प्रेशर आता है? बिकॉज आईपीएल के बारे में जब भी हम लोग सोचते हैं, एंड इट्स लाइक ओनर इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा, सीईओ इन्फ्लुएंस करेगा. आई मीन इनके सामने ही मैं बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि ये मेरा दोस्त है. बट आप तो 6 साल खेल चुके हो केकेआर में. कैन यू गिव अस एन आइडिया अबाउट द कल्चर इन केकेआर?
नहीं, ऑब्वियसली देखिए, जिस तरह से हम लोग 6 साल से एक साथ में खेलते आए हुए और जिस तरह से सेटअप हम लोगों ने देखा है, तो हम लोगों ने क्रिकेट के अंदर कभी भी कोई इंटरफेरेंस शाहरुख खान का या वेंकी मैसूर का या फिर जय मेहता का, किसी का हम लोगों ने कभी कोई इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं देखा. क्योंकि हम लोग क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं, हमारा काम है क्रिकेट खेलना, और उन्होंने हमें इतना फ्रीडम दिया हुआ है कि आप क्रिकेट खेलें, बाकी जो काम है वो हम देखेंगे. तो ये सारी चीज़ें बहुत मैटर करती है कि आप जब फ्रीली अपना जो जैसा कहा कि गौतम गंभीर का टीम है, तो वो उसको डिसाइड करना है कि ग्राउंड पे क्या करना है और ग्राउंड के बाहर उसको क्या चीज़ चाहिए और ग्राउंड के अंदर क्या चीज़ चाहिए. वो सारी फैसिलिटीज़ हमें मिलती है और वो हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छी बात है कि हम लोग फ्रीली खेल सकते हैं, हम जो चाहे कर सकते हैं. हाँ, जो बैकग्राउंड में उनका जो काम है वो करते रहते हैं, लेकिन क्रिकेट में कभी कोई इंटरफेरेंस कभी हम लोगों ने देखा नहीं है.
Piyush, when it comes to the IPL and someone like you, I mean, who's been there, done that for India, when you approach a season, is there any extra pressure on you that I have to perform, I have to pick wickets, I got to make a comeback to the national team, or is it just let me go out there and do my best?
Well, obviously the first thing is when you go out to play cricket, you just make sure that you do your best and give more than 100%, no matter it's IPL game, international game or a league game. Because when you go out there to play cricket, it's, at the end of the day, it's cricket. And nothing to do with like IPL, India or league game. Because for me, cricket is the same. And that love for that game is always remains the same. So, and obviously, as you said, extra pressure or something. So when you go out in the field, so there is always some pressure with you, like, people expecting you to pick up wicket, which you have, like, which as a bowler, I've done it for past almost 8 years now in IPL. So, there's little bit of extra pressure, and sometime it's good as well, because when there is that extra pressure, then you become little extra conscious to, do well
Very good. Colin, when we think of New Zealand and 2020 cricket, the only team that India has never been able to beat is New Zealand. And so many New Zealand players doing so well in the IPL. You, Ross, so many people come to mind. What is it about 2020 and the format that you all have excelled so well? You all have done so well in international cricket and in the IPL over so many years.
I think it's the way we adapt to different conditions and sort of pick our teams horses for courses, really. When you look at the World Cup and you've got two world-class bowlers like Trent Boult and Tim Southee sitting on the sidelines, it's not easy for them, but going to Nagpur, we knew it was going to turn, so we play our three spinners, and when we go out and we bat, it's about trying to just lower those expectations of it's not a 180 wicket. We need to try and fight our way to getting 120, 130 and sort of getting just above par, and then we can strangle in the middle through with our great spinners. So I think for us it's just about adapting to the different conditions where we play and sort of not just having one set formula on the way we go about it.
And as a specialist, so many people call you a specialist in this format. And how do you approach the IPL? Do you approach it as, okay, I've got to win X number of matches for my team, or what will make you happy at the end of the 14 matches? For your own personal goals.
Personally, I just want to get as much out of it. I was speaking to Jacques the other day. I just want to, whether I'm playing or not, leave KKR at the end of the season a better player. I think that's number one for me. There's no point coming here for 2 months and then not being a better player when I leave. So it's all about learning and talking to the different players, whether we've got some really good players that have played in these conditions for a long time and guys that have grown up and played in these conditions, and if I get a game, it'll be my first game in the IPL, so sort of dealing with that pressure in terms how you asked expectations. I think sometimes you've got to take that out of the game, for me personally, because if I'm looking to hit every ball for 4 or 6, it's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's about adapting and playing the situation and playing each ball as well as I can. So I think the biggest thing for me is, obviously you want to win games for KKR, but it's contributing to those wins, because you're not going to go out there and win 14 games for KKR. It's 2020 cricket. If you come off winning 2 or 3, you've done a pretty decent job. So yeah, like I said, if I can leave a better player and contribute to some winning performances, I'll be very happy.
Is there an expectation? Twice you all have won in the last 4 or 5 years. The city gets behind you every time. Is there an expectation from this team that will make you happy? Obviously, everyone wants to win the championship, but is semi-final a goal, final a goal, or is it just go and express yourself?
Well, I think we've proven over the last at least the last 5 seasons that we're a very consistent team.
Correct.
And when the way the think tank sort of sets its goals at this stage, obviously everybody wants to win the ultimate prize, is to be in the playoffs, which means that you're in contention, which means that you're at least a 50% team all the time, which means if you're in the top half, you're clearly giving yourself a chance to go further in the tournament. And I think this team has proven, because we're perhaps one of the winningest teams in terms of win-losses over the last 5 seasons. So there is a strategy and there is a consistency in the lineup and the team, and we know the conditions well. And in most conditions we have a combination that will do very well in almost all conditions that are offered to us, whether it's home or away. So I think the expectation clearly in the minds of the team and all of us is that we will be aiming to be in the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, anything happens here, as you know. Unfortunately, every time we've been in the playoffs, we've pretty much gone on. So looking forward to that.
Venki used the word conditions quite a few times there. In fact, I'm going to quiz Colin, Yusufbhai and Piyush on conditions a little bit more after this very short break. But this conversation with KKR is very special, because as this season approaches, this is one consistent team, and he's right, over the last few years, which has excited all of us, enthralled all of us, and made this passion seductively intense about the IPL. So don't go away. I'm coming back. After the break, Piyush, I'll come straight to you. Venki used the word conditions. And if anyone who has watched the India-West Indies semi-final at the Wankhede will say conditions play a massive, massive part. As a spinner, if there's dew, what do you do?
Well, if there's a dew, I just try to dart the balls in, because it's very difficult to grip the ball as a leg spinner. So I make sure I just hold it tightly and just darts the ball in, because dew obviously becomes, it becomes really difficult for the bowlers.
Can you please explain to my viewers what exactly happens? Because we keep hearing that the ball becomes like a cake of soap. Spinners can't grip the ball. As someone who does that, what happens?
Well, if you see the normal ball which is not wet and it's normal, so you just hold it, so it's very easy to grip because the seam is up and everything is there. And especially in this Kookaburra ball, the seam is of like plastic. So once it gets little wet in the dew, so it starts slipping off, and as you said, the cake of soap, and actually it becomes like that. And when you put some water on the cake of soap, what happens? Even in the washroom, when you put it, and it just slips here and there. So same thing happens with the ball.
यूसुफ भाई, जो पीयूष कह रहा है कि बॉल होल्ड करना बड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है. हम लोग आपके बैटिंग के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, बट कमिंग टू योर बॉलिंग एज एन ऑलराउंडर, are you sort of, as a senior player in this team, do you actually envisage yourself कि मैं all-round ability से टीम को ज़्यादा हेल्प होगा, या only you fancy yourself going forward as a batsman?
नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. जो आज की जो क्रिकेट हो गई है, आपको ऑलराउंडर एबिलिटी है आपकी, वो आपको टीम को हेल्प करती है, तो आपको उसके ऊपर मेहनत भी करना चाहिए और बहुत ज़रूरी होता है, और वो काफ़ी हेल्प करता है टीम को उस चीज़ को लेके कि आप बॉलिंग भी कर लेते हो. अगर कोई सिचुएशन अगर फंस गया आपका, तो आपके जो बॉलर्स है वो अगर अच्छी बॉलिंग, हर कोई एवरी टाइम नहीं होता कि आपके सारे जो मेन बॉलर्स है वो अच्छी बॉलिंग करे, तो तब ज़रूरत पड़ती है कि आपका जो ऑलराउंडर्स है वो आगे आए और 1-2 ओवर निकाल के दे या 3 ओवर निकाल के दे. अगर अच्छी बॉलिंग करते हैं तो 4 ओवर भी कर सकते हैं. तो ये चीज़ बड़ी मैटर करती है टीम के लिए, और आपको भी काफ़ी आगे लेके जाती है वो चीज़.
एक बात बताएं, जाक लास्ट ईयर तक आप लोगों के साथ खेलते थे, इस बार कोच हैं. अ वर्ड ऑन हिम, आई मीन जो जितना लिटिल टाइम आप लोगों ने एक साथ स्पेंड किया है एज जाक एज कोच, थोड़ा बताएं एक्सपीरियंस.
अरे ऑब्वियसली बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है. अभी 2-3 दिन से हम लोग उनको काफ़ी ज़्यादा सुन रहे, काफ़ी ज़्यादा बात कर रहे, तो काफ़ी अच्छा लग रहा है कि पहले हमसे बात करते थे क्रिकेट के बारे में, तो वो स्पेसिफिक चीज़ बताते कि ये चीज़ आपको करनी चाहिए, ये चीज़ से आपको मदद मिलेगी. लेकिन अभी अगर एक सवाल करते तो पूरा होल जो कोचिंग जो उनका स्टाइल है वो सारा दिख के आ रहा है. तो एक नया एक्सपीरियंस है उनके साथ कि जो जैक कैलिस जो बगल में बैठते थे, जो कम बात करते थे क्रिकेट को लेके, लेकिन आज अभी हम लोग के साथ कोचिंग कर रहे हैं, तो काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिला है. 3 दिन में काफ़ी कुछ पता चला है कि हाँ, जैक कैलिस ज़्यादा बात कर भी सकते हैं.
Colin, your experience of Jacques as coach? I mean, this is also interesting, isn't it? One of the greatest all-rounders coaching an IPL side just after retirement.
Yeah, he was someone I looked up to growing up. Obviously, being born in South Africa myself, and watching him play a lot of cricket, and coming over here and being coached by someone you looked up to is obviously pretty cool. So, yeah, he sort of just said to me and the team the other night, was just obviously expectations, put that aside. Everybody, all 8 teams want to go and win the competition, but it's not realistic. So it's for us, it's to go out there and express ourselves and just have a lot of fun in what we're doing, whether it's on or off the field. And if we have a lot of fun along the way, we'll go a long way in this tournament as well.
Why Jacques? I mean, Trevor Bayliss is doing wonderfully well with the national coaching assignment that he's now got. But why Jacques? Why did you zero in on Jacques?
Well, I think it was very automatic for us, to be honest, because when Jacques decided not to play anymore after the 2014 season, he took on the mentorship role, the batting consultant and mentorship role, and for us it's all been about continuity. I think the one word that comes to my mind over the last 6 years is the consistency has come through largely because of the continuity we've maintained. If you see our lineup today and the new players who have come in, it just complements each other, but it just gives us that continuity and stability. And what better than the legend himself? It took a little bit of convincing him. He was not convinced completely yet, and he has already alluded to that as well.
Yusuf bhai, आपका experience with Shahrukh as an owner, as somebody who inspires the team?
उनके साथ काफ़ी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है. आई थिंक मुझे कभी ऐसा फील नहीं हुआ कि वो टीम के ओनर है. एक हम में से ही एक हमारे कलीग है या दोस्त है या भाई है, ऐसे ही हमेशा लगा है कि, और ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि एक ओनर वो फीलिंग देता है कि मैं यार ओनर नहीं हूँ, मैं तुम में से ही एक हूँ. तो ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है हम लोगों के लिए और काफ़ी कंफर्टेबल फील करवाते हैं हमें. तो हमेशा अच्छा लगता है उनके साथ.
Piyush, were you a Shah Rukh Khan fan before sort of you joined KKR?
Well, obviously I was his fan and I used to watch
Your
most.
film is also about fandom.
Well, I used to watch most of his movies. I'm not saying it because I'm in KKR, and that's the reality. And when I joined KKR, I was obviously excited, and I told him that also that I was with Zara for 6 years, and now I'm with Veer for next. I joined Veer.
So Venki, shall we have, because I remember you did it for my viewers last year. You started it. Piyush has already promised he'll go for it. Yusuf bhai can go for it. Shall we do Korbo Lorbo Jitbo Rai once?
Why not?
Yusuf bhai, chalo, shuru karte hain. Piyush.
साथ करेंगे.
Okay, we'll go. Come on, we'll all go. 1, 2, 3.
Korbo Lorbo Jitbo Re, Korbo Lorbo Re, Jitbo Re, Jitbo Re.
Beautiful. This team is very special. Not only is it from my city, but it's been a team that the IPL is proud of. It's held the tournament together, even during troubled times. And this is not the last show that we are doing. Last year we did golf with KKR. This year we'll do golf with KKR once again in May, which will be very interesting because I don't play golf. So Venki and his team will teach me how to play as we do a day of golf with the Kolkata Knight Riders. But till then, wishing them all the very best. Colin Munro, many more switch hits and hope they come off. Yusuf Pathan, many more 22 ball 50s. Piyush Chawla, many more 4-4s or even 5-4s, and Venki Mysore, let the brand soar. Thank you very much for watching. We'll keep bringing you the best of IPL on India Today.